In our previous episode, we covered 6 accidental discoveries that changed the world. From the discovery of X-rays to the discovery of vulcanization. We saw how some of the greatest inventions were made accidentally, which makes you wonder what other inventions were discovered by mistake. And so today, let's take a look at 5 more accidental inventions that changed the world. Microwave oven. Before the advent of the microwave oven, cooking food took a lot of time and effort. People either had to spend hours over a stove or bake their food in a conventional oven, which could take up to 40 minutes to heat up. It wasn't until 1945 that the microwave oven was invented, which could cook food in just a few minutes. But this invention wasn't intentional, it was actually discovered by accident. It all started when Percy Spencer, an engineer working for Raytheon, a company that manufactures electronic devices, was testing a magnetron, a device used to produce a beam of electrons. One day, while he was testing the machine, he noticed that a chocolate bar in his pocket had melted. Intrigued by this discovery, he decided to conduct a series of experiments. He placed eggs, potatoes, and other foods near the magnetron and observed that they all cooked perfectly. Percy realized that the electromagnetic waves produced by the magnetron were causing the food to heat up. This led him to develop the first microwave oven, which was called the Rataranch. Post-it notes. For many of us, sticky notes are an essential part of our daily lives. They're used to remind us of important tasks, to leave notes for colleagues, or to mark pages in a book. But have you ever wondered how sticky notes were invented? It turns out that their creation was also the result of an accidental discovery. In the late 1960s, Dr. Spencer Silver, a scientist at 3M, was trying to develop a super-strong adhesive for use in the aerospace industry. But his experiment was unsuccessful, and he ended up creating a weak adhesive that didn't stick very well. At the time, Dr. Silver didn't see the potential of his invention, but his colleague, Dr. Arthur Fry, did. Drive Fry was a choir director, and he had a problem. He was always losing his place in the hymnal. So he came up with the idea of using Dr. Silver's weak adhesive to create a bookmark that would stick to the pages of the book. This was the beginning of the Post-it note. The first Post-it notes were made from index cards and a roll of transparent tape. But Dr. Fry soon realized that this wasn't very practical. He needed something that was more sticky and less likely to fall off. So he went back to Dr. Silver and asked him to make the adhesive stronger. Together, they experimented with different formulas until they came up with one that was just right. The Post-it note was born. In 1974, Dr. Fry and Dr. Silver filed a patent for their invention, and in 1980, 3M began selling Post-it notes to the public. Today, billions of Post-it notes are sold each year, and they come in a wide variety of colors and shapes. They're used by people all over the world for all sorts of purposes. Antifreeze. Antifreeze is a liquid that's added to water in car radiators to lower its freezing point and raise its boiling point. Without antifreeze, cars would be unable to function in cold climates where temperatures can drop below freezing. But the invention of antifreeze was not the result of a deliberate attempt to solve a particular problem. Instead, it was the result of a series of happy accidents. It all began in the early 1920s when a chemist named Thomas Midgley Jr. was trying to find a replacement for ethanol, which was being used as a solvent in car radiators. Ethanol was effective, but it was also flammable and could cause engine damage if it came into contact with certain metals. Midgley's research led him to ethylene glycol, a chemical compound that was much less volatile than ethanol and didn't react with metals. Ethylene glycol was first used as an aircraft de-icing fluid in 1924, but it soon became apparent that it could also be used in car radiators. In fact, it was found to be even better than ethanol at preventing engines from freezing. However, there was one problem. While ethylene glycol was less volatile than ethanol, it could still boil at temperatures below 100 degrees Celsius. This was a problem because car engines can reach temperatures of up to 250 degrees Celsius. Midgley went back to the drawing board and added some borax to the mix. This lowered the boiling point of the solution even further, making it suitable for use in car radiators. The final product was a mixture of ethylene glycol, borax, and water. This mixture was non-flammable, didn't react with metals, and boiled at a much lower temperature than pure ethylene glycol. It was the perfect solution for car radiators. In 1925, Midgley patented his invention, and it was put to use in cars immediately. Today, antifreeze is an essential component of car maintenance. It's recommended that antifreeze be changed every 2 years to prevent corrosion in the engine. If you live in a particularly cold climate, you may even need to add more antifreeze during the winter months. Nylon stockings. Nylon stockings were a revolutionary invention that changed the way women dressed forever. They were strong, elastic, and didn't require the same care that silk or cotton stockings did. But their creation was the result of a series of happy accidents. It all started when Wallace Carothers, a chemist at DuPont, was trying to create a synthetic fiber that was stronger than natural fibers like cotton and linen. His research led him to nylon, a polymer that was incredibly strong and elastic. Carothers and his team were so excited about their discovery that they decided to make a pair of stockings out of it. However, they soon ran into a problem. The stockings were too tight and couldn't be stretched over the foot. It turned out that the stockings had shrunk in the wash, but this was not a big problem. A seamstress was able to stretch the stockings back out, and the first pair of nylon stockings was born. On October 27, 1938, nylon stockings were introduced to the public. They were an immediate sensation and sold out within hours. Women loved how comfortable and practical they were, and how they didn't run or ladder like silk stockings did. Unfortunately, the success of nylon stockings led to some negative consequences. Because nylon was so easy to produce, it quickly flooded the market, causing prices to plummet. This made it difficult for nylon manufacturers to turn a profit, and many went out of business. Additionally, the production of nylon required the use of nasty chemicals which caused environmental damage. Despite these problems, nylon stockings remained popular with women, and they eventually made a comeback in the 1960s. Today, nylon is used to make all sorts of products including clothing, carpets, and parachutes. Penicillin. Penicillin is one of the most important discoveries in medical history. It is an antibiotic that is used to treat bacterial infections and was the first drug of its kind. But the discovery of penicillin was the result of an accidental contamination. It all started when Scottish scientist Alexander Fleming returned from a vacation to his lab at St. Mary's Hospital in London. On September 3, 1928, Fleming noticed that one of the plates of bacteria in his lab had been contaminated by a mold. But instead of throwing the plate away, he decided to study it. He soon realized that the mold was producing a substance that was killing the bacteria. This substance was later named penicillin. Fleming published his findings in the British Journal of Experimental Pathology, and the medical community was shocked. They had never seen anything like penicillin before. But it would be several years before penicillin was available for use. There were many obstacles that had to be overcome before penicillin could be mass-produced. One of the biggest challenges was finding a way to grow enough mold to produce enough penicillin. Eventually, scientists were able to grow the mold in large vats and extract the penicillin. In 1941, the first clinical trial of penicillin was conducted, and it was found to be safe and effective. By 1945, penicillin was being produced in large quantities and was available to the public. Since then, penicillin has saved countless lives and is still one of the most commonly prescribed antibiotics. But it almost never happened because Alexander Fleming was too lazy to throw away a contaminated plate of bacteria. Conclusion: as we can see, some of the greatest inventions were discovered by mistake. These inventions changed the world and made our lives easier, but they were not the result of intentional efforts. They were the result of curiosity, creativity, and a little bit of luck. So who knows what other inventions will be discovered by accident in the future? And maybe one of them will change the world just like the ones we've seen today. Now it's your turn. Do you know of any other inventions that were discovered by mistake? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.